We are without borders in 60 seconds.
This is the W2 Report with Sanji Homura. Here's Sanji.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode of the W2 Report. I am your host, Sanji Homura. Today, we are going to ask Mellow Online anything. But before we do that, we have to go over our ground rules. Lord Crocker Squirrel, you have the floor.
Rule number 1, be not the dick. That also means that thou shalt not be the super dick or the mega dick or the ultra dick. Don't do that. In addition, those critters that sent that sent questions about locations, real names, and other similar privacy concerns will not be answered. Rule 2: if you have a question about any of the above, please refer to rule number 1.
All right, introducing our third man in the ring, a returning Mr. Thomas.
I quote the Greek philosopher Beck. I got 2 turntables and a microphone.
I got a coffee and a grumpy. Guess which one I will share with you?
Well, I'm going to share my 2 turntables and a microphone because that is where it's at.
Ooh. Also returning, we have Mr. Lindgren.
Yeah, I've got energy drinks and some liquor. Neither of which I'm sharing. Stay away for trying to think it down.
Will not be sharing.
Yeah, for legal reasons too.
Yeah, well, I don't think anybody in this room is under 21. In fact, pretty sure none of us is.
All right.
You're the only one I had a question mark about, and you have all the things.
Oh yes, I am completely overage drinking.
Please welcome former child Mr. Vaughn.
Well, I know we're not going to be sharing any personal information on these questions or anything, but if anyone wants to know Sanji's social security number, it's 457 378.
Well, I won't be sharing my personal information.
Loophole.
Don't ask that of the guests or any other people's.
No. If you want Sanji's zip code, however, that's going to cost you extra.
Of course. And our guest today, founder of Sentinels of the Store, Mr. Mellow Online.
Hello there, gentlemen. Thank you very much for having me, and thank you to anybody that is, well, thank you for coming in and tuning into this. Thank you for watching. I hope this will be a good time to be had by all.
The doctor is in.
Absolutely.
The doctor is in. Tiltify page is still down, unfortunately, so if anyone is wanting to donate, they will have to wait, unfortunately. I will keep on refreshing the page and let people know when donations are back up and running.
That is right. We are doing this for Doctors Without Borders, and we are currently at last check, $816 of a $1,000 goal, and it is an extended goal, by the way, Mellow Online, if memory serves me correctly, because our initial goal was met not even 24 hours before the page went live.
That's correct. Yeah, it did. Like we hit our goal even before the first stream went on, which blew me away. So no, we're going to go for $1,000 now, and we are at $816. So if you have anything that you want to give us, if you want to donate to the page when it goes back up online, please do. If you can't, then if you share the Tiltify page, then it would be really, really appreciated.
Yeah, just unsubscribe from all those OnlyFans models and just donate to this. It's much easier.
All of your OnlyFans funds can go to Doctors Without Borders for this month.
Or maybe combine the two. Only Doctors
Hey.
Without Borders.
Well, there really are no borders when they're on that one.
Well, apparently there are no
Yeah,
borders
they crossed them.
at the moment. We have a border patrol, but the border seems to be completely porous. What are we paying these guys for? I have a question.
Oh, wow.
What's a
Oh.
Venmo?
Oh, wow. Less you know, the better. Okay. All right. So we have 14 questions submitted so far. Some of them are jokes, but some of them are somewhat serious. Can we do we want to start with a random number, or do we want to start from the top?
Let's start with a joke question.
Yeah, it's like
There you go.
food.
All right, Mr. Vaughn, you are the first on the list.
What? I thought this was going to game blind.
Why is the sky blue?
Hey. Look, everyone has genuine questions, okay? I thought I was going to learn something here.
I can't actually answer that.
Yeah, blue light scattered more than the other colours because it travels as shorter, smaller light waves.
It's actually called
Thank you, Google.
highly scattering.
I thought it was just more manly than the rest of the like, up there. I don't know. Blue's
Now,
very
the sky
manly.
isn't actually blue, it's just being portrayed as such through cheap fakes.
I thought
There you go.
Wait, so it's like a
No,
texture
no.
pack kind of thing?
You're all wrong. The light
Yeah.
identifies as blue.
The sky's an
Oh,
asset.
wow.
Prove me wrong.
Did you assume the sky's color?
It's 2024, man. I'm being edgy.
Probably better than assuming it's gender, I suppose.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Now on a somewhat serious note, Mello, Quantum Flux was asking you, what inspired you to start Sentinels of the Store?
I started Sentinels of the Store because it was, well, not even initially going to be a successor to the Gardens Greenlight group, but I started it up to start talking about more games that were on the Steam storefront rather than just focusing on the Greenlight games that we talk about on Gardens of Greenlight. But I think I made the group, and then 2 weeks later, Valve announced that they were closing down Steam Greenlight. So it's like, that's convenient that I've opened this up. And fantastic. So we ended up ceasing operations with Guardlight, I think 6 months later, and then we ended up just moving entirely to Sentinels of the Store. I got into the sphere because I was starting to see a lot of the abuse that was happening from indie developers, and I was kind of thinking I want to be a bit more proactive in terms of trying to help get a lid on the problem. So that's why I decided, hey, I'm going to start doing my own thing. Because I also admittedly had some issues with how some other communities were tackling the issue. A lot of them were kind of devolving into childish squabbles, a lot of harassment as well. And I kind of thought, no, we need to kind of like reset and refocus here, and actually focus on what the issue is rather than just getting so personally involved in a lot of these issues that you suddenly can't approach something from an objective manner. So yeah, that's in short why I started it up.
Wow. That's
Well, the
pretty cool, man.
Greenlight gatherings were hilarious, but they kind of stomped on that. And actually, funnily enough, you can still get access to the Greenlight. It is available. It just takes a little bit of finagling to get in there.
I
It's
think
complete-
they've unfortunately just patched that up just a couple of weeks ago because I remember there was a way that you could access it and you were right, you had to jump through some hoops, but now I can't get anything up from the green light days, unfortunately.
Oh, that's no fun because I was thinking about doing
A revisit.
I was thinking about resurrecting the green light gatherings for just one stream.
No, unfortunately, unless you use a way back machine, I don't think there's no way that you're.
I could
able
do
to
that. You know what? You're right. I could do that.
Oh no, you're giving him ideas.
Oh no! If I wanted to do a green light gathering, just a green light gathering for post-mortemness, I'd be willing to bet I'd have a bunch. I'd pull in a bunch of viewers.
Oh, I've just been
green light
corrected.
gathering. What the hell is that shit?
I've just been corrected. Admittedly, Ratchet showed me you can actually still access green light.
Ah.
Really cool.
Yeah.
Do you just have to press like a button and then cross the road when the green light comes up, or?
Pixel Vortex is asking, I've been disheartened by the lack of coverage on either the Banana Game or Atomic Fabric. Both are abusing Steam TTOS and have been hot topics in your forums for weeks. When do you plan on amplifying these issues further and raising the issue to Valve?
That's a very good question. There's been some Steam users that have messaged me about both of those topics. In the case of Atomic Fabric, I know that he's been a conversation topic for a good couple of months now, but I am also a believer in picking my moment of when it's appropriate to talk about it, because at the moment he is, I'm aware about him. I've been keeping a watchful eye on what's been going on there, but I'm waiting so that I have enough information to go on. Because the article, I don't like doing a lot of revisit articles like I used to, where I would be making like update articles once every 2 days. I would prefer to just get as much as I can at the moment, and I appreciate obviously that's taking a while, but that will end up getting some form of coverage, because I think obviously what's going on with Atomic Fabric is worth talking about. With the Banana Game, that's mainly something similar, but also just with a case of timing. That was starting to get talked about a bit more just shortly before the charity live streams went up, and obviously that's taken up quite a bit of my time. And plus as well, I've seen the Banana Games getting a lot more mainstream media attention over the last few weeks, and I often, when that happens, I kind of look at those and think, what can I add to the conversation here? And there's nothing really that I would say that is different to what everybody else is saying. So I kind of just think I should really be shedding light on information and some games that people don't know about. And I feel like there's already quite a lot of people who have their eyes on the Banana Game. I mean, it's the second most played game on Steam at the moment, so I'm pretty sure everyone's heard about it.
It's news to me.
So it's basically, there you go then. It's basically, there's a game on Steam, free to play. It's an idle clicker game called Banana. But it's literally just a JPEG picture of a banana, and you just click on it and you get points. But there's been a bunch of news coverage on it because they have been putting up pictures of bananas as purchasable Steam marketplace items. There's stuff like a lol what mate banana. There's like a lot of meme bananas. But they all go for like varying amounts of price. Like a golden banana would be $100 that you can pay for.
Whoa.
As like collectible. It works in a similar way to NFTs basically.
Right.
And people are kind of looking at this, and the developers obviously get a cut per transaction. There's been, again, I'm not saying that this is true, but there's been accusations that the developers are internally buying these up and raising the price so high to try and control the market share of these items. And that's gotten a lot of media attention because people are saying this could be quite a large scale abuse of the Steam marketplace. So that's why it's getting a lot of attention. And I suspect also that's why there's a lot of players buying into it, because it's almost an NFT game that is on Steam that has found a way to exist.
Yeah.
But if you haven't read about it, I do recommend giving some articles to read. There was I'll have to look for it later, but there was a really, really good video put together by a YouTuber. It's only about 20 minutes long, who dissects everything in a really, really good, comprehensible fashion.
It's
I
quite
will.
cool when these things go sort of viral and things, because everyone's always got these thoughts and feelings on the banana game.
No, I was going to ask you a side note. Do you think it's like it's a fad, or does it have appeal?
Nice.
I'm loving these puns.
It's a slippery slope.
Myself, I don't really see any problem with the whole banana market. Myself, I sold my AK-47 Hyper Beast skin from CS:GO to get the Ultra Banana skin, and not doing anything with it, but I'm certain it was worth it.
I think the game is what? Again, banana game looks like it's small, and all you've got to deal with there. No, it's almost a gigabyte. Wow, I'm impressed.
That's huge.
They fit
Well,
so
big
much
banana.
mechanical depth and complexity, it wouldn't fit into anything less.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
on top of that, all the bits they actually have for it, 25 cents a pop.
Wow.
Well, I think
Yeah,
banana does warrant its own discussion.
Yeah, they did. I do know that they had to remove a bunch of bananas because they had a Discord channel where their community could submit their own bananas, but then when they put those onto the market, there was like a lot of copyright complaints coming in, and people were
Right.
seeing items. So I think that their market has been massively hit at the moment.
So people went really bananas about it.
Yeah.
Oh, the same.
Yeah, unfortunately, they couldn't keep an Anakin Skywalker.
Okay.
All right.
No monkey business.
All right, let's move on. Nebula Knight asks, why did you go back on your post saying you were quitting?
Yeah, so I put up an article saying that I was going to be quitting. I think it might have been a year from now. I think back in July 23. I was really, really busy. I was trying to find time to monitor the group as much. And I also wasn't feeling as enthused at the time. And basically, all the reasons that I was going to quit, I outlined in that article. I felt like I was losing a lot of my motivation to cover a lot more of the stuff. I was running out of time, and I didn't have as much time to put aside to talk about that sort of stuff. And I also felt like the well-ran drives, I would typically get sent a lot of stuff to talk about, which to me showed, people care about this, people still care about it. But then that also stopped. I got fewer and fewer submissions to talk about it, which kind of told me, maybe people aren't interested in this sort of stuff as much as they used to be. But then Zonatron came onto the Epic Games Store, and that totally changed everything. I was sent that, and then I was sent loads of messages as well. I put the news up on Twitter, and it got picked up by quite a few outlets, and I'm like, oh shit, okay, people do still care about this, and they care about morals, ethics, and why these guys were banned. There was a lot more pressure thrown on Tim Sweeney to explain why they were effectively picking up rejects from Steam that even Steam said they didn't want, and Epic were trying to say we are a lot more qualitative of a platform, but where they were accepting people even Steam were refusing. So no, that was like the key moment that made me think, maybe I should give this another try. My time had freed up a little bit. I'm still really, really busy even now, but I am still able to put some time aside. Thanks to at least what I think on my part is a bit more of an improved time management sort of thing as well. I'm able to put a lot more time aside to write more stuff up, look into more stuff. I've also got a fantastic team behind it as well, Ratchet, SVD, everyone that's always looking out for this sort of stuff and then sending it over to me, and the Steam Sentinels members making forums and discussions, which I always absolutely encourage. Right. It's just fantastic knowing that there's obviously people out there looking for it. People do care about it. They send it over to me, and then I try and take everything and put it into a comprehensible manner and report on it, and then try and make it as known as possible and send it out to as many people as I can.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I hope that answered that question. I know I trailed off a little bit there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It did.
But you did answer it. So
Well,
fair
how can
play.
I?
I did answer it. Fantastic.
Well, how can I trust you now, knowing that you lied?
Yes. Sorry, guys. I went back on what I said.
Echo Pulse is asking, what does your group do to support game developers? I see a lot of jumping on criticizing developers, but none advocating for them.
Well, I think with that, because that's almost like a two-part. What do we do for developers, and why is there so much, lack of a better term, shitting on developers? I'm not a fan of that saying, but we'll just use it for the sake of this argument, shitting on developers. There is a lot of abuse happening from like a developer side of things, because it might, of varying reasons. It might be because they don't know how to manage PR, they don't have a PR team behind them, and they maybe act out of bashfulness. They may be very proud of the game they've made and are very protective over it, or maybe they are just incredibly hot-headed and they make a lot more rational decisions, or they might just have very malicious intents. With regards to what we do for developers, I actually get quite a lot of developers contacting me and sharing stories. Like with the Obzor thing, when we reported on the Obzor review site, I got a couple of emails from developers saying, "Oh, I wanted to pass this on to you because I got an email inviting me to apply to something similar." There's developers that have forwarded me contracts that they've been about to enter with publishers asking for advice on, should we enter into this contract? Or is this seen as abusive? Are they trying to take advantage of me? We've done a number of posts about gaming distribution websites, such as when Indie Game Stand shut down and there was some complications with some of their developer partners. So we do very much still stand up and champion developers, and we're wanting to make sure that they get fair and equal treatment. And we've even, in a couple of occasions, we've even stood up for some Steam developers that we feel have gotten banned unjustly, and we don't think that they've had a good enough shake by Steam. And there's also been some cases where Steam have just outright banned both developers and players, and they've not given an adequate enough reason. We try and get the answers for them as well. Because I think if, at the very least, if Steam are trying to sever some, whether it's business ties or if they're locking off an account, I think the least they can do is let the person know why that's been happening, so that they can either rectify the problem, or they know, at least they know the reason. They aren't just going around spreading conspiracies about why they could have been banned or what the reasons might have been, because then otherwise you get into like a situation that happened with Dr. Disrespect a few years ago, where there's just lots of online attention on, oh, why was he banned? What was happening? What was the ramifications of this? If you just set the record straight from the get-go, then you don't have that issue. But no, I like to think we do stand up for developers. We maybe don't do as many posts about, which I'm hoping. I mean, if developers have any concerns, complaints, or anything, I'm always open to talking about it and making any articles on what they send me if I think it's worthwhile. But a lot of what we get sent, and a lot of what we end up covering is developer abuses. But we are absolutely 100% on board with making sure that developers are stood up for as well.
And that's for video game developers, not property developers, right?
Yes, correct.
Cool. Just thought I'd check, you know.
Right. Now, Digital Rogue is asking, what exactly is your relationship with Valve?
I'm best mates. We go out for drinks every Friday. No, no. I think it's complicated. I don't think that. I think some people think we're a lot more closer than what we actually are. I mean, the relationship is just, if I have a concern on something that I've seen or something that I've been told about, I will air it with them. I'll send them an email. I'll send the email, like the 2-3 that I'm usually in contact with. I'd say maybe about 70% of the time I do get a response. 30% I will just get silence. I mean, that's pretty much as far as it's gone. I mean, I got an invite to Valve HQ back, Jesus, like 5 years ago, and I did try and chase that up recently. I did try and chase that up recently, but unfortunately, that was one of the emails that I got silence on. So I was a
Wow.
bit disheartened. I was disheartened about that. I missed my opportunity because I wasn't in a position to travel over to their offices 5 years ago. And then I was like, oh, there's maybe a chance I can go now. Is the invite still open? And I just get crickets.
Well, you're saying you're not that close, but I have a conspiracy right now. I reckon the M in mod stands for mellow.
Maybe, maybe.
And the O stands for online.
Yeah.
Oh.
Now all we need to do is find a D in there somewhere, and he'll be all.
I can put a D in there. Oh no, wait, no,
No, now get your drinks first.
it's not that
It's
kind of
already
straight. Sorry.
there.
Oh my.
Hello, online Derpasaur? Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, that.
But
Yeah,
wait,
that.
what's that after online? That's a digit. Dun, 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 dun.
No, that would be an I, sir. And
Is it a 1, isn't it? Mellow Online 1?
Yeah, Mellow Online 1, yeah.
And then 1 is a digit, am I right?
All right. Starlight Cipher is asking, what is your end goal?
In what life?
Death.
Taxes.
I assume it's Sentinels.
With Sentinels, that's a very good question. I mean, the focus has slightly changed over the years. I used to advocate for a lot more of a curated quality control storefront. Now I'm not really as bought into that as I used to be, because then the questions arise of what is quality, because quality is so subjective to everybody. So if you've got people handpicking games and they just refuse to ship it because they don't like it, then I think that proves that would lead to more problems than solutions. So I think that the process that Steam Direct has gone through, I think that is the right way to go about it. You just have a blanket approval of saying, yes, you are allowed on the store, but it's your slot to lose, if that makes sense. So you need to not fuck it up. And then I think that when you go with the approach of just seeing and monitoring what happens after the fact, and you look out for any terms of service violation, any developer code of conduct violation, that is highlighted. And I think that Steam have gotten worse with this over time. So I would like to think one of the end goals is that Steam become a lot more on the ball with this sort of stuff. I don't know how they would do it. I don't know if they would, because they obviously want to go with a more community curation approach. Whether that's they employ like a delegated team or whatever, literally to try and fish through those sorts of reports, and then give it the attention that it deserves. Because I mean, there's been occasions where, like, take some of our processes and systems, for example. There have been users on our forums that maybe highlight a game to us and say, "Oh, I've also flagged the game," or "I've ported the game too," and whatever. There's maybe been like 10, 15 users on our forum saying, "Oh, I've reported the game," but then nothing happens. But then we send an email, like just one, like me being just one person, send an email, and then they say, "Oh, we'll look into it," and then an hour later it's gone. And it's like that shouldn't be the process. That shouldn't be the process that it goes through. It should be that if there is a report filed, because if there was one person that flagged a game, that wouldn't happen. They wouldn't review it. Is what I'm trying to say. There should always be a delegated team going through that sort of stuff and then treating every report with the amount of time that it deserves. Because the fact that someone's gone through and said, "I've had enough of an issue with this game to flag it," then I think that should be considered. And especially in occasions where people are flagging games for review manipulation, saying this is literally violating your rules, then that's also bad. And it's getting worse and worse now, because obviously, I mean, I don't think it's a secret. Ever since Steam China launched, Valve have been a lot more lenient with Chinese developers. I mean, Chinese developers are employing some cases of review manipulation, and they, instead of banning the developers like they did with a lot of cases, they just flag it as off topic. And that's an inconsistent rule enforcement, in my view. I think there should just be a blanket, no, you are not allowed to do this. I think they've cited before that it's to do with cultural differences or like different laws, because I know obviously like China's government's a bit more lenient when it comes to stuff like copyright infringement, freedom of speech, that sort of stuff. But even then, as far as I'm concerned, if you're doing business with Steam, you're reaching a global market then if you're manipulating reviews and that's being received and you're deceiving people from the West as well, outside of your country, then I think that's where that's a problem, and that needs to be they need to get a much more better handling on that.
I think a line needs to be drawn somewhere. And
absolutely. I mean, like, just in summary. Go ahead there.
Oh yeah, actually, now that you mention it, the Chinese government is a lot more proactive towards infringing copyrights.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, it's because their copyright rules are a lot more lenient. Like you can use a lot more there. But I mean, I guess in summary, it's pretty much just I want Valve to take reports a lot more seriously. I want there to be much more fair and equal treatment across the platform, and I just want to make sure that people's concerns and complaints are heard and that they get actioned on. I hope that answers the question.
What might help actually is if they had a team. Maybe they could have a fortress for this team, and maybe call it like a team fortress kind of thing, and that might be quite good.
Team Blue versus Team Red.
Red versus blue. That's always been a thing.
Ah, yes.
all right, Jog Sampson's asked, for real, if for real life, a doctor is in the emergency room and you're diagnosed with quite a lot of various diseases, is it okay if you ask the doctor to violate your border?
That's a very astute question.
That's what it says right here.
If I was in the sorry, Sanj. So if I was in the emergency room, I was diagnosed with loads of diseases, would I allow a doctor to violate my border?
Which border were we talking about here? Like,
I don't know.
My borders would be down. My borders would be open if it means to save my life.
Depends how much anesthetic I was on, to be honest. But
Well, it's like technically, yeah, it's like go ahead, but it's like I'd much more strongly advise going with the nurse.
whoa, yeah, fair enough.
Fair enough.
Ooh, wait, a male nurse or female nurse?
Both.
Ah, sorry, yes, a gender.
Yeah,
neutral
both
answer.
of them.
SD is asking, do you see Sentinels existing in 5 years?
I mean, define existing, because I mean, I was in the forum, I think, when I was in like a leave of absence for like 6 months, and someone was saying, "Oh, the group's dead. There's no one else was posting," and I'm like, "Yeah, but you guys are still making forums. You're still coming here to have discussions about." Instances like if keys being revoked or like a developer abusing their privileges or whatever. And to me, that like Sentinels isn't just like what I post. It's not about the articles I write. It's part of it, I like to think, but I think a lot of it is also just the community having their own place that they can go and talk about those issues without worrying that they're going to be like silenced or whatever, as long as they abide by the community guidelines. Because I mean, we have enforced those just quite recently because we've seen some concerning content going up there, but we never remove something unjust. We never remove something just because, I personally don't disagree with that. We will argue and we will persuade and we will debate, but we'll never go out and just silence anyone's view in that regard. Because I think it's important that we keep that open door approach to people, which is saying, hey, if you've got a problem, you come here and talk about it, see what we can do to support, and go from there. So I mean, in a way, yes, I think it will be around from now. Whether I'm still writing articles, we'll see. It depends. It depends if I have another 2023 moment.
Which to say it's already been around what? 8? It's already been around most of a decade.
Almost. We founded it in 2017. So that's
and it's 2024 now.
So 7 years.
8 years.
Yeah. 7. We turned 7 in January this year.
What did you do for your anniversary?
I made like a 3-paragraph article, and that was it.
Oh, that's cute.
It was like 2 weeks after the New Year, so it was like I was already like probably still hungover.
Brilliant. Best way to be, though, man.
Yeah, I wouldn't put much credit into like groups dead kind of posts. It's like Morgan Freeman died like 4 or 5 times on social media. He's still around.
Yeah, Morgan Freeman's not going to stop breathing. He's just too damn stubborn.
Yeah, that's true.
That's because I tell people to get busy living or get busy dying.
That's because Morgan Freeman has access to such amazing places like Doctors Without Borders. So please do take this time to go.
Yes.
And donate.
Exactly.
Morgan Freeman.
But he wasn't
The page is still unfortunately down. So please do keep an eye on the page. Keep refreshing it, and if you want to donate, please do donate when it goes back up.
So I guess something that kind of goes along with all of this is, I kind of see it as an offshoot, or maybe even a continuation of Gamergate, and kind of we're looking for accountability, but instead of looking at from accountability from game journalism, you're looking for accountability from companies that are distributing games. Do you think that's a favorable or not so favorable viewpoint?
Yeah, I've heard that comparison before. I get a bit wincy because I know that I think Gamergate came from a good place in that they were wanting accountability from games journalists. But I think the problem is that because all it was just a social media hashtag, it got claimed up by people that wanted to weaponize it for something that was,
Right.
in my opinion, going in the wrong direction, and it was making it a much more easier target for people to pick up on. I like to think that because we have a community, we've got a moderation team, we've got an administration team, we've got people overseeing everything, and we are making our own due diligence and judgment in terms of what and how we approach different matters, that we have the potential to go in a much better and non-divisive approach as well. Because obviously, Gamergate, regardless of what anyone's opinions was, I think everyone here can agree it was a very, very hot topic. It was incredibly divisive. I like to think that the issues of consumer protection, accountability, and fairness aren't bipartisan issues or anything like that, and everyone can get on board with that. And I like to think that nobody is able to reclaim what we've done and try and repurpose it as something negative.
Yeah. Also, Gamergate, it's like the discussion around it did get derailed by a vigorous opportunist who made it all about her.
Well,
Or who told news sources it was all about her.
Well, without delving into the topic too much, I think that there was issues on both sides of the fence. I think, well, as is usually the case, I never like to think that all the blame is heaped upon one person or two people or whatever. I think there was also external factors at play as well. But like I said, I like to think that the approach that consumer advocacy is bipartisan and fairness and treatment. I think everybody would want that. I can't think of anyone not wanting that in place.
All right, moving on. Tiffany Groves is asking, which game will be game of the year based on what you have seen this year?
Oh, you guys might be in a better place to answer this than me, because I'll be totally honest, I don't pay as much attention to the AAA sphere as I used to, because I got so burnt out by it. A lot of it is just so not as fun as it used to be. I'll be totally honest, it's not as fun as it used to be. I pay much more attention to the indie scene for that same reason. It goes back to another conversation I was having with someone like, well, not even with someone like, this is a frequent thing that comes up where they ask, if you hate Steam so much, why do you still use it? Or if you hate X, Y, and Z, why do you talk about it? I don't talk about things because I hate them. I talk about things because I want to see them improve, and I have an adoration for them.
You hate what's hurting the things you love.
Yes, exactly. So, in terms of the AAA sphere, I don't love it anymore. So I don't talk about it. I love indie games and I love Steam a lot more, so I talk about those. But in terms of what game of the year is, I have no idea. I've been playing a lot more older games recently, to be fair. Me and Ratchet, I don't think this is a new game. I think this maybe came out 2022, 2023, but me and Ratchet tried out Escape Simulator on a stream just a couple of days ago. And that was loads of fun. We had a great time with that. I don't know what you guys have been playing. I don't know if you guys have any game of the year suggestions you can put in place.
I could suggest one. Potentially Helldivers 2. It depends if it gets more love from developers, I think. That has a good shout.
Helldivers 2, yeah, it was considered the most terrible thing ever after Sony pulled that stunt, and then they walked it back, and it was okay. Everything was okay again.
Yeah, but the actual game itself,
that was it being okay again was probably not the smartest idea ever.
No, but I'd say the actual game itself is like really good. I'd say that's really top tier.
Okay, if you want mine to date, we've got Trails Through Daybreak, which is a Legend of Heroes game, and the other one would be SMT5 Vengeance. Mind you, that's to date. So that's going to be kind of a thing. That could change over the next 6 months, though. So watch that stream at the beginning of next year.
It does also depend if they do the Elden Ring, the expansion to that as a stand. Yeah, I wonder if they'll count that as a thing. I don't know if they will, but it has potential. It really does have potential.
I wouldn't count that because it's downloadable content. But to be honest with you, my pick would be based on what I've seen so far, not based on what I've played. My game of the year would be based on what's released. Would have to go to Helldivers 2.
Yeah.
But based on what's coming out, my pick would have to go to Romance of the Three Kingdoms 8 remake.
Okay. What about the new Assassin's Creed game coming out? Shadows, I think it's called. Because I've played a little bit of it when Ubisoft came to the office, and that was fun. But I don't know. If you flesh it out, it'll be good.
Yeah, I'm going to reserve judgment on that one because I've heard a lot. I've heard a mixed bag on that one. But I would love to get my hands on it. Just to. I'm not going to dismiss it out of hand, but on the other hand, though, I do want to see what they've changed in it.
Yeah,
well,
I think
they didn't actually change very much, and honestly, Ass Creed has been hot garbage since what? It was the one right after Black Flag.
Origins, yeah. No,
after Black Flag, wasn't that Unity and Syndicate, or was that?
Black Flag had us running around on a ship most of the game.
Yeah,
and that was
Black Flag 2 wasn't very good.
That everybody went yay over, and then they started adding them to all the other games. They went meh.
I don't know. I really like the Origins and Odyssey.
I've just had a check there. The Assassin's Creed game that came out after Black Flag was Assassin's Creed Rogue from 2014.
Oh, does that count? Because that was like a not a DLC, is that? It's like a standalone little one, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
side project.
Ass Creed Nord? Oh no, that wasn't Nord. It was Valhalla.
Oh, okay.
Which I have a copy of and found it completely distasteful.
Distasteful?
Distasteful. As someone with a Nordic background, I found it incredibly distasteful.
Oh, I thought it was all right.
Hey, first off, it was mechanically garbage.
Whoa. Where's this come from?
I played it. It was absolute garbage with a side of chips. Seriously.
But it played really nicely, at least.
I got about halfway through the game before I realized that I was really freaking bored, and all of the things they're making reference to either did not, could not, or will not happen.
Oh, I thought it was all right.
It's all wrong.
Well, I mean, Assassin's Creed has never been like the most accurate of things.
No, Assassin's Creed makes its living on it being reasonably historically accurate.
I think
With
it's
this
like
thing, they just said, okay, we have
Historically plausible.
Vikings, let's just do that. And there's no rhyme or reason.
I think it's more just inspired by events. I don't think it's actually supposed to be, depicting it as real. I'd say.
Nope.
Okay.
I mean, put it this way: I don't go into Assassin's Creed and expect to watch a documentary.
Yeah, I'd agree with that for sure.
I wasn't expecting a documentary. I was expecting it to at least adhere as closely to it as everything else. They did not do that.
As long as you had fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's agree to disagree on that one. We'll move past that one, I think.
Okay, moving on.
The clear top of the clear top of 2024 has got to be banana. But that, I guess it's going to be Pal World, actually.
Pal World was good, but it won't make it will make my top 5, but it won't be game of the year.
It's a good prediction.
I actually didn't buy anything in 2024.
Yes,
so I don't know what all is going on.
That's actually a prediction.
Mango
Pal
Gods
World will make my top 5, and that will be about the end of it.
Yeah.
Starfield, if anybody goes back and watch, it didn't even make the top 5.
Starfield was a bit of a letdown, unfortunately, but it is what it is.
Well, they have an update.
Well, that's because you had expectations.
That is true. I had very high expectations as a Bethesda fan.
That being said, we shall have before too much longer. Actually, we're just a couple of months out. In September, they're going to be releasing a massive, a whole nother campaign, effectively, wherein our player characters go and visit hospital.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Mango Gods is asking, you seen the pull punches in the Badlam interview. Do you regret that?
Sorry, Sandra, can you just repeat the question to me?
You seen the pull punches in the Badlam interview. Do you regret that?
I assume he must be on about the Badham interview.
Yeah.
No, not really. I not pull punches. I like to think that whenever I get developers in that are willing to take part in an interview, because admittedly I try and send interview requests out as much as I can. A lot of them refuse. Badham was one of the few that actually said, yeah, sure, okay. So I'm like, okay, hats off to you, respect to you, because not everyone does this, not everyone opens themselves up like this. This was in response to the Fireborn series of videos that were made about them. So I wanted to treat him fair. I wanted to get his side of the argument, because at that point there hadn't really been an official response from Badham in terms of the accusations made in Fireborn's video. So I thought the main purpose of this video isn't for me to sit here and refute everything that he says. This should be first and foremost him telling his side, because I knew that there was going to be plenty of people talking about that interview anyway. I knew that they would be able to see what was good about the argument points, what was bad about the argument points, because believe it or not, people do have brains. It didn't need to be there. I didn't need to be there as a constant fact checker or a constant contrarian or anything like that. My main purpose for that was for me to just sit there and listen to his points and be the mouthpiece to communicate questions to him, so that he had a platform to answer relevant questions, and also so that people that watched the Fireborn videos had a way to get another side of the argument. So I intentionally approached that as unbiased as possible, so that the audience had a way of getting out for the other side, and at least out of respect for Badham, so that his side was out there in some fashion.
No, that's missing the entire point of an interview. The whole reason you give an interview is to verbally lynch the the other person for all of the wrongs that they have ever done.
Well, I think it's unfortunate because I think a lot of the time when people do have interviews, they feel that is what needs to be done, or at least I think what people feel like they need to do and make an interview entertaining as well. I was coming at it because obviously I'm not sure if you guys followed what was happening with Badim, but there was lots of serious accusations being thrown out there. There was stuff like his family, like his family were getting dragged into a lot of the claims as well. There was some like really, really serious stuff. So I figured that this needs to be answered. There needs to be another side of things, more than just what the Instagram post he made said, because that didn't really address everything point by point. It was kind of just a generalized, in my opinion, a generalized waffle. And I thought there needs to be something a lot more concise out there. And my form of concise was a 2 hour and 40-minute interview, which maybe if you'd need to do some skipping about probably.
I'd say concise is subjective, though. I think it's fine.
But I like to think that we covered everything in that, and that if you have a question that you had about the whole scenario, that it did get answered there.
Yeah, and to the point about why didn't you go in harder on him? A very logical reason is because if there's a change that needs to be made, you're better off doing it by saying, "Hey, we want to get your side of the story. We want to give you a hearing, and then we can base it off of that." If you're going in looking to score gotcha points, then the change is going to be a lot harder to come by.
Absolutely, no, I 100% agree with that, and it's like what I was saying before about transparency and fairness. Is it fair for me to invite him, and then I just like badger him the whole time?
Right.
I don't think that's fair at all.
No.
I think the fairer approach is we've heard one side, we need to hear another side. Let's formulate a proper opinion now that we've heard both sides, and take from it what you will. Because then if people go and watch the Fireborn videos, and then if, say, I did do the interview differently and I was a lot more harsher with him, then you're effectively watching a video that has Fireborn saying X, Y, and Z, these are the accusations, then you've got a video of me saying, yes, but actually X, Y, and Z, and then still you're watching an argument take place. I think that the approach, I like to think at least the approach, I still stand by the approach I took, put it that way.
Well, people look. Josh Rife Hayes pointed out not too long ago. People look for videos to view confirmation bias.
Of course, that's the way. That's the way it's always been. Anybody remember the live stream we did with Fatfly?
Oh yes, yeah.
We got him to admit that there was the world's largest asset flip, and somehow or another, I got excoriated for playing playing nice ball.
Yeah, and I think it's just going to be, that's a constant criticism that will always exist, because people, especially if you take a middle ground approach, people will be saying, oh, I think you were too harsh on him. People saying, oh, I think you weren't harsh enough. There's always going to be that. So a lot of the time, admittedly, I don't take too much attention to those unless I think myself, yeah, that was a bad interview, or yeah, maybe I was too harsh or whatever. But no, I think
some people said that I was way too easy on the guy. I'm thinking, well, no, I really didn't.
As well, plus as well in that context, it's something very, very similar. Yeah, you have people like Jim Sterling that was making videos on Fatfly, so there was plenty of negative coverage already out there. All that was happening in that situation was we weren't
even necessarily doing positive. We just honestly, we were just talking, hanging himself, which he did nicely, I might add.
Yikes!
And he went into some significant detail about how he was building these games. You know, we got more ammunition from that one interview than a million people looking at those games.
I mean, and I think that's the other thing worth pointing out as well, because I think if you are always on the offensive with people that you're interviewing, they're going to get a lot more defensive, and they just will
absolutely.
not feel like they can be honest with you, because they always feel like you are out to earn points, so they are trying to. It feels like they'll be in a boxing match, and they've got to always have their guard up. Whereas really, what you need to do is you need to have something a lot more softball, a lot more calmer, a lot more relaxed. Just like you're having a conversation with them.
Yeah,
right.
I think it's also really cool just to see where people come from, as in where those ideas come from, because no one's inherently bad. Like, I don't think anyone deep down is an awful person. They just express themselves in different ways, and it's nice to understand that, I think.
Absolutely. Moving on. Tangled24 is asking, Mello, I've had a key revoked for a game recently. What do you advise I do?
I didn't know I was the customer tech support.
You've been promoted.
No. No, it's totally fine. It's a totally justified question. What I would advise is contact your distributor. So I don't know where you got the key from. If you got it from, like, say, Humble Bundle or Fanatical or another website, get in touch with their customer support. Make a forum on the developers community hub. Don't be rude or anything, because I know, like, obviously a lot of people would be quite frustrated if they've had a key revoked, but just politely ask, hey, I've had my key revoked, is there any reasoning behind it? Or if they've got a support email as well, that's even better, but I do know that some developers don't have support email addresses on their pages. And then see if you can get the answer from those avenues, because then you would like to think, at the very minimum, the distributor or the developer or publisher will know the reasoning. If you aren't happy with the reasons given, I would advise trying to contact Steam support, see if there's anything that can be done there. You are more than welcome, if you think that there has been an example of key revocation abuse, please do make a form on Sentinels or send me an email, and let us know about it, and then we can see about taking that case on as well, because we've done that on a number of occasions where, I mean, we just had one recently where a game publisher revoked one of their game keys and tried to wipe the game from existence, and that was part of their plan in the long run. But then after we tried to make the argument in the case, Valve did thankfully revoke the changes that was made by the developer, and they restored the game depot files that the developer had also removed. So that meant that even people that still bought the game from Steam no longer had access to the game. And I would like to think that Steam also gave access back to players that had the keys, because I mean, keys can still be reactivated even if they get revoked. I know that there's some line on the Steamworks documentation that says game keys can't be unrevoked, but they can be, because it has happened before with, like, games like Death Penalty Beginning, where there was like thousands of keys revoked for that, but then they got reactivated on Steam's end, because that was a very unique circumstance. But no, I'd recommend get in touch with the distributor, get in touch with the developer in the appropriate channel, be nice, be polite. If you're not happy with the answer that you get in touch with Steam support, or get in touch with us as well.
Yes, I would like to highlight something very important that Mello just said. Be polite. 9 times out of 10, you can catch a fly with honey better than you can with anything else.
A thermonuclear device.
Oh yeah. Just be polite in your tone, and you'll get further. You get further with the developer than you would anything else.
So if you're too long, didn't listen, just sue Steam.
I think that's about all the questions we have on the forum.
Fantastic.
And I think if there's nothing else,
I had a question. My question is, what is Ligma?
I don't know if I think I fear the stream would be age gated if I responded to that.
Well,
it did kill Queen Elizabeth, so it is an important question.
Oh man.
well,
Wow.
I've just seen a question in your YouTube chat, Sanji, from Screwtape. Did you see the Kenny Assets game that got ripped off? I did, actually, literally just before the stream came on.
Which Kenny Assets game?
So there's let me just get it up because I just saw it on Twitter just shortly before I came on with you guys on here. So Kenny is an asset maker. A lot of his assets get used in a lot of asset flips.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Oh yeah.
But he recently had I don't know the ins and outs, but he had a game just entirely copied pretty much by another. Oh, that's the asset flip alarm going off. Yeah, Kenny had a game called Make Room, which is currently on Steam, coming soon this year. But then another developer has a game page up for a game called Flora Corner, also releasing this year. And if you look at the games comparison, they are pretty much almost a one-to-one copy of each other. But Kenny's was the original. So Kenny made a tweet today saying, highlighting the game, saying, this is really demotivating for genuine indie developers. It's awful to see your games get copied, and the game hasn't even released yet, trying to steal some of the game's thunder as well.
Mm-hmm.
So no, yeah, I had seen that just before we came on today's Screwtape. Yeah, it's not right. It's not clever, especially in the indie scene. Triple A's, I mean, some of that's already normalized where they rip each other off. They see what's popular. But with the indie scene, yeah, I like I mentioned before, I've got higher opinions of the indie scene. So when I see that just
it's just
hitting the balls, it's not pleasant.
Yeah.
And it's a real dick move to do that to Kenny of all people. He gives so much out for free. It's like, why you got to do that?
Oh my gosh, you ripped off Kenny's game. You bastards.
You bastards.
Well, unfortunately, we might have to rip it. We might have to rip off the Band-Aid and leave it here.
Rip off the game stream? Which stream are we ripping off?
I don't know.
We're ripping off FQC.
Well, we had actually planned for 2 hours, and we're not quite an hour and 5 is what he's talking about.
Yeah, because we were planning on going 2 hours, but unfortunately, we're out of questions.
Unless you wanted to go through the chat and just see what's been happening over there. And
we can rip off Hassan Abi, just put on a video and walk away for a few minutes.
We could just stream out while being asleep. Does that count?
I don't think we want to do the whole stream thing.
You can also just leave a black screen up and then just stream for the rest of the 2 hours.
Yeah. Or Thomas can read us the Bible otherwise. I'd be okay with that.
Well, unfortunately, I got other things to do. So,
and also, end of the stream celebration, the donation is now back up. The Tiltify page is live again.
Yay!
So, if you have been sat there thinking, I wish I could donate right now, you now can. If you visit our tiltify.com/@mellow_online1/Sentinels-4-doctors-without-borders.
Is it worth putting a link in the chat somewhere, just in case?
Yes, it might be worth it to put it in the chat. There
you go. That's my social media tick box done.
I'm not sure if it'll let me, will it? Oh, it does. There we go. Fantastic.
So Violent Death, you did catch into the stream, but if you have a quick question, we can quickly answer it for you.
I'm sure Survival Death will just be something like what's Mello's real name or something.
Which unfortunately we cannot answer.
Here's his address.
I'm just going through some of your comments here. I think that's the case for a lot of AAA games. Helldivers 2 and Baldur's Gate 3 dodged that. People think they're small indie games despite HD having 100 people working on it. It's John Sentinel. You got me. You got me. Ratchet wants his question answered. What's your question, Ratchet?
I nearly forgot. I thought it was a joke. So let me pull it up.
Oh dear, that's not a great start for his question. I didn't know it was a serious question.
The answer is 42.
We take joke questions only.
On a scale from 1 to 10, with a 0.5 being a valid answer, how can Mellow?
Wait, what? What? Never mind a joke question. What does that mean? On a scale of what?
How can Mellow?
1 to 10. How can Mellow?
On a scale of 1 to 10, how can Mellow?
Well, answer the damn question, man. Come on.
Yeah, it is pretty simple.
I was a 10 until I heard that question.
Now it's an 8.5.
I'm an 8.5, yeah.
You've lost your ability to mellow after hearing that.
That leads to my two-part question. First of all, have you ever been mellow? And second, have you really tried?
I genuinely like to think I'm a very mellow person. I like to think I like to think, I'm not sure what the reality is, but I like to think I'm quite calm and collected in general. And I do try and keep that mindset as much as possible.
Have you ever been to a marsh and said, "Look, I'm marshmallow"?
Funny enough, I think I can't remember. I can't remember who it was, but there was a Steam developer. It's SVD. If he's still in here, he might even remember who it is. And if you do, please do name drop them because I can't remember. But one of them nicknamed me Marshmallow One in like a forum at one point.
Well, you were the first.
Yeah, I'm Marshmallow One. Who's Marshmallow Two?
For some loser. No, I'm joking.
Oh, wow.
What would you think your other half there, Mello?
What's that, sorry?
I said, probably your other half. Whoever that
Yeah,
was.
maybe. Marshmallow 2.
Yeah.
New and improved.
Well, we need to. Well, in that case, if we have marshmallows, we also need to have a chocolate bar and graham crackers, and we can have a s'more.
Oh, wow.
What we should all do? We should leave the stream.
Not only another half, but a couple of children to go with it.
No,
wait, have some more.
They're still a while off. What we should all do? We should all leave the stream and then come back with our names changed so that we can make it like a little campfire gathering.
We'll all just be mellow online and see if you can guess the real one.
Me and Vaughn might be a bit difficult to tell apart.
Yeah, we're British, isn't it? There we go.
British, innit?
Yeah.
As long as I can be marshmallow number 6, I'm happy.
Yeah, marshmallow 6.
Oh, Mello, I forgot to ask. Can you pass me the bottle of water?
It's
wow.
The real marshmallow.
Sorry.
Oh, wow.
Wait,
unfortunately, this is
what's that?
Unfortunately, this is where we're going to have to end it, folks.
Save me my shotgun.
Remember when we were putting that gay game? What?
Oh! I remember that game, but the name escaped me.
Oh no, not a gay game. Are you on about Feminazi the Triggering Ratchet?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, we were putting as like a loading screen or something. Like Guardians of Green Knight are turning in their grave or something like that.
Oh wow!
I have a question. If it's not appropriate, then you can toss it out. Why did you decide to go with Doctors Without Borders?
What happened was we were initially going to do a charity live stream for 2,500 members for Child's Play, but I ended up getting slammed with work and I couldn't get around to organising it properly, so I abandoned it. I'm like, right, I'll try again at 3,000. So when it came out to the 3,000, because what we've done the last couple of times is we've put it down to a community vote based on, well, a small selection of charities. and then since I was aware about we usually go with just gaming related charities, so stuff like Child's Play, Able Gamers, go in for like community vote and just saying, hey, whichever you prefer, whichever one you want us to donate to, let us know. But since we obviously had in the last couple of years in particular a lot more humanitarian global conflict issues going on, we decided, we'll throw in a couple of those charities as well. So I made a post saying we can still back Child's Play if you vote for it again, or if you want to go for another game charity, that's fine. We've also included a couple of humanitarian charities in there as well. And Doctors Without Borders won with quite a landslide, I think. I think they ended up getting like just over half the votes that were cast. So we're like, okay, yeah, sure, we'll back this charity. They do a great job. They supply all sorts of humanitarian aid and care in countries that struggle with conflict, struggle with disease as well. They're just a very, very well-rounded charity, and they do some amazing work. So yeah,
top guys, yeah. Absolutely.
Yep. Absolutely.
I'm sorry, Thomas. The question was too appropriate, so we're tossing it.
Better luck next time, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Well, unfortunately, this is where we're going to have to end it, folks.
For the sixth time, apparently.
Yeah, for the second time. Who's coming up next, Mel?
Good question. I believe it is Dragnix now that Ratchet's not doing his stream. So Dragnix will be live in to just under 3 hours from now. If you want me to be precise, 2 hours and 50 minutes from now. Dragnix will be live, so if you head over to youtube.com/Dragnix, I think. Hold on, he says. Let me check what his actual URL. Yeah, youtube.com/@Dragnix. And he is going to stream Trauma Center Second Opinion.
Wow.
For the third time.
And that's in 2 hours, 50 minutes, you say?
That is in 2 hours and 50 minutes from now.
That's
yes,
just enough time to watch Pulp Fiction. So if you want to do that before you...
Yes,
Doctors
Dragnix
Without
is
Borders,
finally...
do you speak it, motherfucker?
Dragnix is thankfully stepping in for Ratchet because Ratchet is currently clutching to get a game finished in time.
You got it, man.
Yes, and Ratchet is going to be streaming again tomorrow.
Yep.
So thank you, Ratchet.
And unfortunately, this will do it for us today. Mello, thank you for coming on, for doing this AMA for us.
You're awesome, Mello.
Thank you for having me, and thank you again, guys, for doing the stream and support of the charity. It is really, really appreciated.
No problem. And until the next time we see you, beware. The tax man cometh.
Hello, folks. This is Morgan Freeman. This concludes our broadcast day. I'm Morgan Freeman.